we went into the Sunday action. The first game we're going to be talking about this evening is my Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Cincinnati Bengals 34-38. I am a very, very bad Steelers fan. I have not watched any of this game because I worked the whole of Sunday. So I am going off of box scores alone. I did see a little bit of I managed to catch the closing segment of the red zone with the touchdowns and saw some of the interceptions and defensive play that we had, and also the Bengals' defensive play as well, which was very good as well. A big shootout of a game, probably not something. I mean, something maybe some people were expecting because of the way Cincinnati have been playing. I think high scoring was. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, really even know what people would going to make of this game because the Steelers are an offense that did terrible against the Cleveland Browns, but a really stout defense. So they keep people to low scores, and then the Bengals, with an absolutely terrible defense, but an incredible throwing attack with Joe Burrow and obviously T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So I mean, a barnstorm of a game. When you have over 900, close to 900 yards of total offense in the whole game. I mean, that's a pretty fantastic game for the neutral.
Yeah, 100%. It was great to watch this. It was obviously the main event in the 6 o'clock games. Complete shootout. So really enjoyed watching it from a neutral. I think on reflection, this was, obviously the scoreline suggests it was quite close offensively, but I do think this is a little bit of a reflection of the Bengals this season. The Steelers, who had, I think, offensive milestones for the season across the board, really were able to just dominate this team. And obviously the start of the game, we saw Russell Wilson throw a pick six, and the Bengals, were up on the board first, and obviously this was another must-win game for them. But at the end of the day, I think the defense has done for the rest for the start of this for this year, coming up to the end now, has just completely let them down. Which is such a shame for such a talented team, because obviously they can put up such huge numbers and really push big teams, the best teams like the Steelers, to close half 4 games. But yeah, it was a reflection that the Bengals got serious issues on that side of the ball. This is one of the worst in the NFL at the moment. And when you on the flip side, you have so much talent, so much young talent going forward. It's just, for fans, for Bengals fans, this must be such a frustrating feeling, because this is, another year of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, which has just been flushed away, unfortunately. So, the game itself was great for the neutral, but I can imagine Bengals fans are just thinking, right, let's completely chalk off this season, because the season is just completely over. Obviously, I think they had to win this game, and obviously they didn't. I can't see them being able to get into a position where they're able to get a wild card spot. So it might not be mathematically official yet, but yeah, I think this signals the inevitable end for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I kept seeing notifications going off about the game, and it seemed it was pretty wild. And then when I watched some of the highlights, I was like, "Oh, right!" So the Steelers were 34-21 up at really running away with it actually at one point, and it looked like it. 14 points by the Bengals in the fourth quarter to Pittsburgh's 10. It sort of drew it a little bit closer, but I think the Steelers were pretty in control for most of this. Maybe let's talk a little bit about Russell Wilson and how good he's been since coming into this side. 29-38, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception on the day. Obviously, interception being on that opening drive for the Steelers. I think he's only lost 1 game since he's come in as the starter, and that was the Browns, and that obviously was a bit of a shock around the league that happened in the first place. But he's really come to Pittsburgh with a point to prove, hasn't he? And I think he's proving the point. He's proving the point that he's a decent quarterback and there's plenty of mileage left in the tank.
100%. I think, Russell Wilson has done such a great job of supplementing the offense and being able to distribute the ball around. And there is a lot of talent on offense, which he's been able to unlock. I mean, obviously I've spoken about how poor the Bengals defense was yesterday. Wilson was able to just throw it down the middle and there'll be someone open. I think, they're able to get obviously Calvin Austin, Najee Harris had a really good game. Even Cordell Patterson was getting involved with some big runs. Maybe that's to do with the Bengals not being on it in terms of their play. But yeah, I think he's been able to, get everyone involved. And obviously we know how good George Pickens is on the field, and Wilson has been able to enhance his play style. I've been listening to a lot on Wilson today, and the conversation is very much now around, has he done enough to guarantee him perhaps the multi-year contracts. Obviously he's getting on a bit, but he really seems really comfortable with the Steelers at the moment. And I think it's almost guaranteed that he will be their quarterback in 2025. So I think if you can keep him around for the next few years. I even quite like the way obviously they're this year they're supplementing and sprinkling in Justin Fields for the odd play. I think is really nice of keeping their play fresh. I don't know how long that will last for, but yeah, I think Wilson has certainly done enough to be the semi long term. Not short enough that he's going to be sticking around for another year or so, but he can certainly play until he's 40 if he can keep. If he stays fit. Obviously, there are physical limitations as we've seen for older quarterbacks, but yeah, he is the I think for the time being the perfect quarterback for this team, and yeah, he just gives them such a better chance, I think, than they've had in better seasons. Obviously, the defense didn't have its best game of the year, giving up so many points against the Bengals, and I think in any other year with any other quarterback that you've had over the last 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure you would have been able to match that point scoring tally that the Bengals put up. So yeah, this is really, really positive for Pittsburgh, and I think they are obviously with the Ravens losing. It's going to be quite hard, I think, for the Ravens to catch the Steelers in the run-in. They're favourites now to win the division, and that gives them home field advantage in the playoffs. So I think the sky is pretty much the limit for the Steelers. I think they obviously had the rocky defeat to the Browns last week. Divisional games, I think, are almost a coin flip at times, particularly with playing in cold conditions. So I'm not reading too much into that. I think the Steelers in the playoffs can give anyone a match for the game, particularly the likes of the Chiefs, even the Bills. Playing a hard game in the cold. That's something the Pittsburgh Steelers are used to. So yeah, really, really positive. Another great win, and yeah, long may it continue for you and the rest of your fan base.
I am hoping it may continue for a long way into February. That's what I'm hoping for.